Hey everybody, it's Dr. Ashley, pediatric emergency mom. Happy Monday. Recently I put out a call or post, sorry, and said send some suggestions for topics. And in one of my followers sent me a private message and asked that I cover a topic that I was very um, kind of surprised and caught off guard, and didn't even realize that this was going on in Louisiana. But she asked me to cover raw milk, and informed me, which I didn't even know, that recently, just within the last year, there's been a bill passed in Louisiana, allowing the sale of raw milk in grocery stores. So, Louisiana, prior to this, was a state where it was illegal to sell raw milk in grocery stores. So, let's just back up a little bit. So, raw milk is classified as cow's milk or goat's milk that is unpasteurized. So, um, just let that sink in for a minute. So, I'll just go back just a little bit to pasteurization in and of itself. So, invented by Louis Pasteur, who was a French scientist and kind of the father of germ theory, and developed attenuated or weakened vaccines, right? He did a lot of amazing stuff. One of the things he did was to recognize that if we heat something up, it can kill certain bacteria. And based on how high you heat it, um, what bacteria is killed. And so this was implemented by the United States prior to World War II, and before that time, up to I think it was 25% of all foodborne illness in the United States came from unpasteurized milk or raw milk. So what's the why? Like, why are we even talking about raw milk? There is a push. Some people think that raw milk is better for you, that it contains more nutrients, more health benefits. And I will tell you that is objectively false. So, raw milk has everything in it that pasteurized milk has, except for bacteria, viruses, and parasites. So there's no, when you pasteurize milk, you're not getting rid of any of the good proteins or the glucose or the vitamin D. You're not getting rid of any of those things. You are getting rid of some pretty bad pathogens. And so some examples of what could possibly be in raw milk: Salmonella, E. coli, Campylobacter, Listeria. So those are all bacteria that can be in raw milk. None of those are good. You don't want any of those. Viruses such as the H5N1 avian flu virus, that has been found in raw milk, and parasites like Cryptosporidium. So, just going back to bacteria, E. coli, Salmonella, these are certain types of E. coli and Salmonella, for sure, can cause hemorrhagic enteritis. So that is that you are having bloody diarrhea. Listeria can be fatal to pregnant women and to newborns. It can lead to miscarriage. It can lead to death in pregnant women and newborns. And so, this is one of the reasons, if you're pregnant, you're told to not eat soft cheeses because it could contain traces of listeria, which is a huge health concern, right? As far as the avian flu, if you're drinking raw milk and that raw milk it contains avian influenza, then you could contract avian influenza and then subsequently spread it, right? The kind of interesting and concerning thing about this too is I had made a list of the topics and I looked up quite a bit of these things, the end of December, beginning of January. And then with the snowstorm and everything else, kind of got behind on things. And so when I went back to some of these websites to gather my data, one of those websites was the CDC's website, and before the inauguration, and I'm trying not to make this political, but I do want you to be aware of what's happening in science. So prior to the inauguration, I could get all of the data that I needed. I could get surveillance data. You pull up a map and look at where there are the most cases of avian influenza, and all of those kind of things. And now when I pull it up, it is a very watered down version of what was there previously, and this is across the board for anything that I look up. And at the top, it says this website is under review because of executive orders from President Donald J. Trump. So I can't give you everything that was there before. Like, I didn't print it all out. I didn't do those things ahead of time. I was not expecting this to happen. So what I have is what I know, and then what I had documented prior to all of these executive orders. And so why now in Louisiana? So there's a lady, Kimberly Coates is her name, who is a state representative. And so she introduced House Bill 467. You can look it up if you're in Louisiana. You can look it up if you're anywhere. And so her take was that there were too many restrictions on dairy farmers. And some of these restrictions caused some farms to be shut down. And she wanted people to have more holistic choices with their milk. Okay, so holistic, yeah, you do have the whole, holistic meaning whole, right? So you have the whole complement of all bacteria, viruses, and parasites that are still going to be in this milk. The too many restrictions and farms being shut down, like, that's for a reason. There's safety, right? And so public health is a big deal. Now I will say, this was approved and went through, and so now I haven't seen it on grocery store shelves, but some people have in Louisiana. But you can get raw milk at the grocery store, kind of right next to the other milk. Now, by law, it's supposed to have a label that says not for human consumption. Um, I cannot caution enough about avoiding raw milk. Raw milk, so many health concerns. This is really gross, but I'm just going to say it. I mean, I equate drinking raw milk to eating raw chicken. Um, Even my kids know the temperature of chicken internally should be at least 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's for a reason, because that is the temperature, or beyond that temperature, is when we know that salmonella is killed in the meat. Okay, so would you eat raw chicken? Just, and I'm telling you guys, there's no additional health benefits to raw milk. Um, if you are concerned that you're not getting enough nutrients or whatever you think or have read in certain places that might make raw milk really good for you, I suggest looking at the rest of your diet. How much of your diet contains processed foods, fast foods, um, fried foods, all of those kind of things, and focusing on a cleaner, more whole food type of diet. And I've said this a million times, like, the easiest way to shop at the grocery store and know, like, is this good for me or not, is to stay around the outside of the grocery store where everything is refrigerated or has a definitive shelf life that isn't months in the future. So your veggies, your fruits, all your produce, your dairy, your meats, all of those kind of things. That's the stuff that's really good for you, and your breads, because that's not going to last forever either. So, all of that to say, please don't drink raw milk. Please let me know if you have any questions or want to discuss further. I think this is a really fascinating topic because I can't really fathom um, anyone wanting to drink raw milk. But anyway, for yourself, certainly for your own health and safety and the health and safety of your family, please don't drink raw milk. Thank you.